Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. I wanted to be outside because our weather has been so nice, and where I live, it
Um,
rains often, so I'm like taking advantage of the fresh air.
I love it. And it looks so cozy. Are you on your
It
balcony?
is. Yeah, I have like my lights, my blankets, my pillows.
Oh, so cool. I'm glad that we're finally doing this.
I know. I feel like we've been planning on doing this for, I don't even, literally months.
It has been. But we did get
I
to do
think
your
it was,
podcast. So
we did,
this
yes.
is actually our second time around. I'm gonna
I'm
adjust
turning
this.
my volume up a little bit there. I have to say, like I grabbed my dowsing rods like right before I went live, and I could already feel the energy is really strong.
Ooh, I'm excited. I didn't know if we were
I'm
gonna do
like,
any dowsing rods, but
well, I brought them just in case we don't have to, but I have them ready to go if it
I'm
leads
sure
that way. But
everyone
I
would
was,
love to. So, as people are coming in, as always, I love your videos. I love especially your new stuff that you've been doing. You've been doing more readings and
thank
they've been so good.
thank you. No, I really appreciate that. I mean, I've been a fan of your account for a long time. You just like get so in depth with everything that like for me, for example, I'm into all this stuff, but I haven't, like, you've read so many books. Like it takes a lot of time to, learn all of those things. So getting to watch the videos is like perfect because you do all the work. You do all the work for us. Um, but yeah, I remember when you followed me back, I was like, oh my gosh, she knows who I am. Um,
Aw.
I was a little
I think someone
starstruck.
tagged me. I think someone tagged me in one of your videos, and I think that was how I found you. Um,
Probably one of the dowsing rod videos would be my guess.
I think so
That's so
because you
funny.
always ask really cool questions, and um, I remember you did some on souls, some on things like
Yes.
fairy. You did some about aliens at one point, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like the ocean, like mystical creatures in the ocean.
Yes.
It's
So
like I could ask,
how did you start using the dowsing rods?
yeah, okay. So I've always been into paranormal stuff, like the spiritual world, paranormal, ghosts, et cetera. Aliens has fascinated me since I was a kid. I used to see spirits as a kid and I was fearful of it for so long, I kind of blocked it out. And then as I started getting older, still fearful of it, but still fascinated by it, I would watch videos on YouTube of like ghost hunters, people going out to seek spirits. And they would go on these, you know how they have all the gear, I don't even know what they're called, but they have gear to
Yeah.
like try to communicate with spirits. And some of them would be using dowsing rods, and I'm thinking like that's
Mm.
not high tech, like what is that? So that was the first time I was, I guess, exposed to dowsing rods. So I searched them up. I was super fascinated by it, and I was like, oh, I want to get my own set. So eventually I just ordered my own set and I started using them from there. And then I guess I posted on TikTok. And then people started asking questions, and it just kind of evolved from there.
I love it. So I
But
actually was not too familiar with them. The first time that I heard about them was not that long ago. Was in this book called Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. And she was talking about holographic inserts. And this is like a book that's channeled from Pleiadians. And she says that these holographic inserts are basically sometimes things that we're experiencing, like especially sometimes like global events or like traumatic events, not personal traumatic events, more like
right,
collective
X,
events.
right.
That sometimes they're actually these things called holographic inserts, and they say that there's like a corporation that is off planet that creates these things, and that they're similar to movies, but they install them into our reality, and which is crazy and creepy as hell. And they said the only way for you to really be able to tell if something is a real experience or a holographic insert is through
Hmm.
dowsing rods. And I was reading and I was like, what the hell is a dowsing rod? I need to get them.
So so I mean, I'm caught up on this whole holographic insert thing. Um, whether it's a real experience or not, like how that's so fascinating to me. Like I don't even know how to like verbally express my question because it's like my brain cannot compute a holographic insert being real. Like how can that seem real? I don't understand how that can seem
Exactly. So the
like
way
my
that they
brain doesn't.
describe them in the book, which is very interesting, is they said that now, and that book came out in like 1992. So obviously there's a lot of things now, virtual reality and stuff. But
Mhm.
before, at that time, the way that they described it was they're like, now that humans have evolved and you guys have created movies, now you can actually understand what a holographic insert is because it's kind of like the movies that you create, but in your reality where you're
Right.
experiencing it, and that you could experience an event and be a part of it, and your body would feel
Mhm.
like it was really there, and you would have the sensations as if it was real because you
Yeah.
fully believe it's real, but you
So
would only know.
you'd be physically impacted by it.
You would be physically
Interesting.
impacted, which only kind of more so proves that this is a hologram, because if you can kind of just
Right.
install something into it and you believe it's
Yeah.
real. So that was the first time I ever heard about dowsing rods. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I didn't end up getting them, but that was my initial reaction when I read that, was like, I need to get them.
Yeah, because these things are used for like, I mean, I use them as a divination tool, but they're used for other things too. Like people are like, aren't those like used to find pipes under the ground? And I'm like, yep,
Oh,
like they are.
really?
Yeah, like they're called like witching rods too. But they are used for multiple things. I use them as a divination tool, but they're actually, it's an actual tool that you can use to find like water
Wow. So
lines, pipes. Yeah.
I have actually heard of witching rods, and I heard about it, I think, from an article about Napa Valley. And basically, there's like a guy, this was an article about this guy in Napa Valley that
Hmm.
he uses witching rods to help people buy land for wineries. And that, there's a lot of controversy where people don't believe that he's legit, but then he has like this crazy track record that every time he guides people on which
Hmm.
land to buy when they want to open a
Hmm.
winery, the wine does really
He's
well. So that's
interesting because
interesting. I didn't realize that it's the same thing.
yeah, because with pipes under the ground or something like that, apparently when they come to whatever it is they're looking for, like the rods they'll cross. Right now the rods are going like just like
Wow.
crazy, but they'll kind of like when I ask for a yes, like this is what they'll do. They'll cross in front like this. Um, and I'm
And
like,
so
is
when you
that like
got them, did you just kind of immediately get it?
so? When I first used them, I was first of all, I was kind of like, I don't so spirituality for me, being open about spirituality is relatively new. For the longest time, I didn't share it because, afraid of judgment. I kind of actually put it out on TikTok before I put it out to my closer family and friends because it's easier to put it out to strangers. So I've never said this to anybody, but the first time I got these dowsing rods, nobody else really like I didn't want to take them out in front of anybody. I was embarrassed. So I was in my car. I stayed in my car because I didn't want anybody to know. And I was still like fearful. So I was not in the best, I guess, headspace for them. And I took them out and like they didn't work. And I was like full of anxiety. And I was like, okay, like I sat with them for like 2 minutes and I was like, no, I can't do this. I put it down. And that happened like twice. And then one day I was like home alone and I was like, okay, because I was living with my ex at the time. I was home alone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to like go in my room, like meditate, ground myself, and then I'm going to take the rods out. And I did. And I sat with them for a while. And then when I was eventually able to like fully relax and clear my head, they started working. And I was just like, I remember actually connecting to both my grandparents and just like crying, like I was sobbing because it was like the first time, yeah. but that's, I guess, how it all started. And then eventually, I mean, everybody knows now, but yeah.
Wow. And so also I think it's really interesting too because when you do it, you connect with your grandfather who passed, which I
Hmm.
think is a very unique way of doing it. I don't usually see someone doing it when they are connecting with like someone that they knew in real life.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, for me, my grandpa, he passed when I was young. I was about 5, maybe 6. So my recollection of him in life is like not very, I have like minor recollections, but like my relationship with him now is like so much more profound, I guess. Um, and the reason I know he's with me all the time in all of this is because before I even got my dowsing rods, I went to this, I was feeling this presence. This is still when I was like fearful and, didn't really let myself open up too much because I was scared, but I'm still very sensitive. So I was feeling this presence with me and not understanding of it, not understanding it, I was naturally fearful. So I went to this crystal shop and I was like, oh, I need to get like a crystal for protection. Like I need to protect my energy, blah, blah, blah. And I remember speaking to, I believe he was the owner of the store, a really lovely guy, and I told him what was going on, and he's like, okay, let's like this stone, he's like, do you want me to cleanse the crystals for you? And I was like, oh, that would be awesome, because this is before like I even like, this was like before, I know what I know now, I guess, like before my
Mhm.
practice. This is the beginning of my journey. He cleansed the crystals for me, and as he was like cleansing them, he's like, okay, I don't normally do this. He's like, but I'm a medium. He's like, I have a grandfather figure here, basically. And as he was like cleansing that crystal, apparently he heard like, but I'm her grandpa. And he's like here to protect me, type of thing. And I just like immediately started crying, and you just have that inner
Wow.
knowing. Like I just believed him, he wasn't charging me anything. He was just genuinely a nice person. And I just had that like inner gut feeling, and I just started sobbing, and from then on I kind of knew he's been with me, and then I kind of forgot, not that I forgot, but when I started using the dowsing rods, that's when it kind of hit again. And he like claims to be a spirit guide of mine as well, so that potentially could be like why he's with me, I feel, all the
Wow.
time. But yeah.
That's so cool. And do you feel like because he's like a spirit guide, like you get to ask him so many different things. Is there some times where has he ever kind of said that he doesn't know the answer?
Yeah, like I won't get the answers to everything, and I also don't necessarily ask everything, depending on what it
Hmm.
is too. Like with personal stuff, I don't ask much, because it's like like if we just got yeses and nos to everything, like what's the point, you know?
Hmm.
So there are questions that I won't ask, and so
Wow. And that's interesting too that you haven't done that much personal questions. And that's like kind of shows a little bit more too that it's like more of a service that you want to
mhm.
provide, for the collective as opposed to just using it for your own and your own decision making. You want to make sure that you're making your decisions on your own, right?
Yeah, and that's big for me, because like people will want me to answer personal questions. And people ask if I do that all the time. And it's like, I don't feel comfortable with it for a couple different reasons. Because it's like, that's not what life is. We don't just get answers to that, yes and no easy. Then everything would be easy. And it's also, I just wouldn't feel like some of the questions people ask like hold a lot of weight, and it's
Mhm.
like these are not like I can't give you the answer to that. And I'd almost feel like it's disrespectful, not disrespectful, but almost like to ask the spirit of these things is like, I don't know, like almost crossing a line for me at least.
Mhm.
So that's why I choose not to really do that now.
Especially because it is a yes or no type of answer. It's
Hmm.
so definitive. Whereas like
Totally.
I access the Akashic records, not for like sessions or anything, but for myself and for friends when they need it. And that's a little different because it's not just a yes or no. And
Right.
I talk a lot. My higher self talks a lot. So, like, one question, the answer is like this long, like a whole page. It's crazy. So, and
Yeah.
they never really tell people, almost never, what they should do. They mostly
Yeah.
just kind of explain why one side would be this way
Hmm.
and why another side would be this way.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the
Yeah.
dowsing rods, it's a little bit harder to kind of give
Yeah.
that perspective because then it's just an
Hmm.
immediate yes or no. So I
A
think
hundred
that's like,
percent.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
way to handle it. Especially, I do see
Yeah.
a lot of times people, the questions that they like to ask, you're right, are very heavy, are about like, am I
Hmm.
ever going to have children? And you
Hmm.
just don't want to be kind of responsible with just a yes
Yeah.
or no answer on that.
Totally, totally. Like, yeah, 100%. You hit the nail on the head there. But that's why, like I do my readings. Like I love doing readings for people too, and that I'm more comfortable with because you can ask me a heavy question and you're not going to get a yes or no from me, but I'll tell you what the
Mhm.
cards say, and the cards, I believe are spirit's message, and they need to interpret that however they do. Um, spirituality, spirit should be used as like a guidance, not
Mhm.
a book with, not a book with all the answers.
That's
There's a reason
true.
why, it's like, I think there's a reason why we're here on this earth and we chose to forget everything. There's a reason for that. We're not supposed to know it all. It's interesting talking about it. I'd love to try to figure it out because it fascinates me,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And someone on my side is saying that future looking questions are difficult to answer. And that's definitely true.
Hmm. Yeah, like
And
100%.
Marcella over here, hi Marcella, is saying questions that need personal responsibility first and foremost. Yeah, the personal responsibility exactly is so important when
Yeah.
people are asking questions on any type of reading.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I had a
Um,
friend with that I did an Akashic reading for. She was just kind of at a crossroads in her life, and there was three potential places that she could move. All were very like emotionally charged for her because they kind of
mhm.
symbolized different aspects of her life. Different people were living there. One was romantic, one was family, one was her career. And she wanted to know like where should she move? And
Ah,
so I did
okay.
ask, and I
Yeah.
mean the answer was ridiculously long. And they basically said that all of them are the right answer. It just depends how quickly she wants to start her life. If she wants to start her life now, this was the one. If she wants to
Mm,
explore this romantic thing, go and do that. But there's going to be a delay on the other things that are important to her because she's going to focus on that. And then they
right.
also said, too, that more like the family aspect of it was also this was the benefits of it, but that it
Mhm.
wouldn't be for the thing that's important to her career wise. So it kind of weighed
Right.
all the options. And
Yeah.
so when I gave her that, which I basically just give it to them as like a written document. And she
Mhm.
was like, okay, I want to start today. And it was like, just like that. The apartment came through, everything came through. So it was really like her decision. And it just kind
Wow.
of gave her the clarity of like, this is what would be most important if you did this. This
Right.
would be most important for this, and this would be most important for this.
Got it. That is so interesting. And that's why, yeah, with going back to like the future questions and whatnot, it's like we have free will. We can make those decisions. So, and as a collective too, like the future, all we have is the present. And then what happens in the present will then steer the trajectory to the future.
Mhm.
But like that all depends. And that's why like when I do my readings too, I always tell people this is all based on the current energy being projected. So if
Yes.
there's something you don't like or whatever, you can make a shift in that energy. And even like the smallest shift sometimes will change the trajectory. Like you think of an airplane flying, you make one small little movement, even if it's just like a small degree, it'll end up completely somewhere different.
So true. What a good analogy. I love that. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about your journey now with offering tarot readings and different oracle card
Mhm.
readings, because I know you're using a couple different decks.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is brand new for me. I did readings like a while back, but I was working full time still, and it was a lot. It was too much to juggle, and I was just exhausted. So I put it on the back
Have you left
burner.
your day job?
Yes.
Congrats.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you. Like this is week two. Like this is week two after
oh,
saying goodbye to that. So I'm going through this huge transition. Um, but I feel like it's exactly where I need to be. Like I'm developing my mediumship right now. And yeah, so I was like, you know what? This is where I have to like speak what I preach. You know what I mean? I'm like trusting the universe. I'm 100% going for what lights my soul on fire and what I feel like I need to do. And it's like, I can't wipe this stupid smile off my face. It's
aw.
risky. And like, people might look at me and think I'm crazy because, yeah, I was like a teacher. That's a stable job with a decent income, you know, a great pension, all of the things people would think are like successful, whatever. And I'm like risking all of that to, you know, work for myself essentially. But I just feel like it's what I need to do. So my fingers are crossed, things work out.
I love it.
But yeah.
And that reminds me of something that's in one of the Dolores Cannon books, which I think I quoted in my Earthshift series. In like,
Hmm.
I don't know, I'm thinking sometime part 4 or 5 or 6 in that part, if anyone wants to go check it out. Um, but one of the lines that I had quoted from the book was basically that the people who are working towards, the new earth, which I know has now become a little bit of a trigger word on TikTok, but working towards this better future for the planet, they need to not work for money. Not saying
Yeah.
that they can't make money, but they
Yeah.
can't do things that are not aligned with them just because they have to
Yeah.
pay bills.
Yeah.
And it says that anyone that is working towards this better future will be taken care of. And
Oh,
the one thing that
it gives me
I've
chills.
learned in this process, because I think we had talked about this already, I think maybe
Hmm.
on your podcast, I had quit my job April of 2021, and
Right.
it's been a journey. And I've
Hmm.
really just 100% committed to trusting the universe, and miracles have happened. But I do want to warn you,
Hmm.
the universe will take you to the very last minute. Like they will take
Okay.
you to like the point of eviction before the blessing
Okay.
comes, because it's like
Oh
I
man.
I feel like it wants you to fully believe and to fully surrender,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not always
Ah.
just like the miracles are flooding
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
definitely have to like fight the doubt and fight the fear
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
really
And
trust.
yeah. And no, I have been, and I feel like I'm almost like, right. I feel that because last week, if I'm being honest, I was like, whoa, like it hit me. You know what I mean? Like it hit me. And I was like, what if like I don't get enough bookings, or you know what I mean? Like because I'm doing it because I genuinely want to. However, of course I do need to make money. So like for my pricing, for example, I think is very reasonable.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like if I don't get enough bookings, then it's like it's scary to think about. So I'm just like trusting. Like I'm like
Mhm.
we'll see what
And you
happens.
never know where money will come from. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, I got sent a gift from someone that was very important in my life when I was a teenager, um, and was a teacher of mine, super like important, influential person in my life, who was just a gift being in my life to begin with. Hadn't talked to this person in a very long time, and then this person recently like sent me a gift that was like really the money that I needed right at that moment. So it's like you also don't know that sometimes the money might not come from the stream that you're
Right,
believing.
right, right.
So
And
always just be open to that. These
yeah,
miracles are kind of, I mean, even down to something
yeah.
really crazy. Like I went to the store the other day, had to
Hmm.
get toilet paper, and I totally forget to get the toilet paper. I get other stuff that I didn't
Yeah.
need, get home, and I'm like, I completely did not get what I went for.
Forgot.
So I was like, oh God. And now I didn't have time to go back. And I was like, oh God, well, I guess
Hmm.
I'll just go tomorrow. And then I bring down my trash to the dumpster. And literally right on the way to the dumpster inside my building, someone like threw out a giant sealed thing of toilet paper, of like the good stuff, of the Charmin. And
It
I was like,
literally landed right in front of you.
this is like, even though that is so ridiculous, like
Yeah,
these are like the little
it's
confirmations from the
the
universe
little
that I was
things.
like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm always going to be
if
taken
they're
care
listening.
of. Thank you.
Down to my toilet paper. That's
Down to the
hilarious.
toilet paper.
Ah,
And it was the good
and
stuff.
that's so funny. No, it's true though. It's true. It's like these small little things that happen, and then when it clicks, I'm like, oh my gosh, like. But it's funny because it's those little things, like it's the little things that are almost like easy to come, like when talking about manifestation, because it's like you kind of manifested that toilet paper to land right in front of you. But at the
Exactly.
same time, it's like it's something like kind of insignificant. I'm sure you weren't that caught up on it. So it's kind of like letting it go too. And then it just lands
True.
in front of you. And it's like it's easier to let go of those little things, even if it's subconscious, because it's not like you were trying to manifest toilet paper, you know what I mean? But you did
Exactly.
manifest toilet paper. Um, it's like if only it were that easy with the bigger things, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what
Uh,
they say. They say that a lot of times it's easy for us to manifest the things that are not as important because there's no
yeah,
resistance.
exactly.
Whereas
Yeah,
the big things that we really care about, we
yeah,
create resistance because we're like,
yeah,
and do I deserve it? Am I good enough for it? Am I an imposter? Am I faking it? Or, you start to doubt yourself. So that's
yeah,
why, sometimes our bigger manifestations take longer, but that
yeah,
also is like because they're more worth, the wait too.
yeah, yeah, 100%. It's worth the like pursuit, the journey, because that's when like, growth and all of that stuff happens too. And it's,
And that's where
yeah,
I
it's true.
always find the random things, like,
Hmm.
the perfect hamper that I wanted, or,
Hmm.
it's always the insignificant things that it's like they fall
Yeah,
out of the sky. But those are
and they're
also the
right there.
confirmation that we need in order to
Yeah,
fully trust, because the
totally,
universe pushes you to
totally.
the last
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, and a big one for me with like signs too is even angel numbers sometimes, like
Mm.
synchronicities like that, because sometimes it's like crazy. Like sometimes it's crazy, the synchronicities, and I'm like, okay, I needed that in this moment. Like, okay, they're there, you know? Um, but
I
yeah,
know.
no,
And so
you're
I have
so
a couple
right.
friends that they actually like pick objects. My one friend uses like pink cars. My other friend uses a neon green car, and they
Mhm.
just like really kind of like put a lot of intention to like, when I see this, this is what I need to see. And when I'm with my one friend, the neon green cars are popping up
You
all the time.
everywhere. Yeah.
And it's like, so sometimes too, it's like picking those things that are not maybe super common, but common enough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, I like llamas, I like to see, and I mean, you don't see a llama walking down the street,
No. Yeah. But like a little
but they
image
do pop
maybe.
up. Yeah, they do pop
Yeah.
up. I mean, right behind me, I have a little ceramic llama back there, but
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I need a closer look. That's so funny. For me, it's sunflowers. I don't know, something about
oh,
sunflowers. But I know those are like a little bit more common in the summer. So, but I'm trying to think what
but
else.
you
Do
never
you know
know.
what?
It shows up on someone's shirt. It shows up
Yeah,
on,
yeah. And it
someone's
like
picture.
in a weird way, right? One side note, like talking about signs and stuff, I had this sign from my grandpa actually one time. My boo boo. So one recollection I have of him in life was him sneaking me, those Werther's Originals like hard candies. So he'd always be like, "Shh, don't tell your dad," and he'd like give me one. So every
It's
time
the
I see a
ultimate
Werther's,
grandparent snack.
yeah, and I loved them. I loved them as a kid. So every time I see a Werther's now, I automatically think of my grandpa, and those are not candies you necessarily just see everywhere, but there's been like two times in particular now where I was like questioning something or thinking about something in some kind of way and needed a sign, and I came across like Werther's Originals in like the weirdest way. Like one time I was at a sushi restaurant, and you know how at a lot of sushi restaurants, or at least where I live, they have like a jar with like a bunch of candies, but normally the candies are like fruit candies. They're never Werther's. Like I've never seen a Werther's there once. And one time I remember just like needing a sign, going to pay. I looked down at the candies and there was one Werther's original sitting like right on top of like the pile. And I was
Oh,
like, whoa, like that's weird. And then another time, same thing. I was needing a sign and I was walking into work when I was still teaching. And I remember looking down on the ground and seeing a Werther's like wrapper just like on like my path. And like, yeah, high school students eat a lot of candy and stuff, but they're you don't see them like munching on Werther's, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like those little things like that. But
Wow. So how was it teaching people in high school? Like that's quite an experience.
yeah, I mean, I've been a teacher for the past, I guess, almost 5 years. I would have hit 5 years of teaching come December, so I stopped right before then. I love working with kids. I've taught elementary school too, but I primarily taught high school. I love working with kids. They're like their own, they got their personalities. They're hilarious. They're just growing up, and people think, oh, like teenagers, they're such brats, and I'm like, no, they're not. They're learning. They're learning about themselves, who they are as a person, and they're just misunderstood. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed the teaching aspect of it. There's other things that, I it was a job. Like it wasn't I liked working with the kids and I like working with people. That's the part I enjoyed. So,
That's nice. I definitely I feel like teenagers are like kind of forgotten by society.
mhm.
Aw. Sometimes I'm shocked. Someone over on my side, Candy, she says, as a 17-year-old senior, I feel the love right now. Sometimes it shocks
Aw,
me. It shocks me sometimes
yeah.
when people reveal their age because I just kind of assume everyone's like the same age as me. And sometimes, someone will be
Yeah.
messaging me asking a question and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great. My parents," and then they'll kind of say their age and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Did I like scroll back and I'm like, "I didn't say
Wait,
anything.
how
That was too
Yeah.
crazy." Right?
Yeah, especially with social media too, like you don't necessarily see the picture, you don't know who you're talking to, and yeah, you just assume that they're older,
I
but they're
know, but
like
kids today are kids today
a
are
lot of
really like so aware, they have
totally.
access to all the information. They know everything that we know.
I was gonna say they're with it. They're like with it today for the
Yeah.
most part. They're also, yeah, it's interesting because it's a different world. Like seeing like high school kids witnessing what their social lives, all of, well, I shouldn't say their whole social life, but within the school at least, what that's like compared to my high school experience. Like I'll be 29 this month. So I graduated high school in 2011. That was how many years ago now? Not that long ago, like a decent amount of time, but not that long ago. And it's like complete contrast. Complete
It's so
contrast.
true. I honestly really don't like the generational beef. It is so corny to me. Like I find it so cheesy. The whole like, oh,
Oh
millennials
yeah,
this and Gen
I
Z that
know.
and even the boomer thing. Like, yeah, boomers did make mistakes, but also like they had like three channels. They got all of their information from like three channels. So it's like
Literally, yeah.
they only had mainstream media, so like I don't really like I just find it so cheesy,
Yeah,
it's
and
really not cool.
you can't put somebody in a box like that. Oh, you're a millennial, so you must be like this, and this. It's like, okay, like, are we not more than that? Like, come on, we're,
Yeah. And of course there is certain things that collectively happened during their lifetime, of course affect
yes,
them, but that's
yes,
never what we're talking about when they bring up these
no,
like weird generation wars. And especially too, the one between like millennials and Gen Z, I feel like is especially corny because it's
I
like the ones like millennials, I don't know, they felt bullied by boomers for all these years, and now they're literally acting like their parents.
I was
It's
gonna say
so
doing the same
cheesy.
thing. I know, I know. Ah, I don't know. I
And then
think it's like,
Poor Gen X just
I
completely
know,
just
just like
gets,
in its own little, oh man. Honestly, like I'm technically, what am I? I'm a millennial. Yeah,
yeah,
I'd
I
be
think you're
considered a
at
millennial.
the end of well, maybe not the
I
fully
think,
end. I think the youngest millennials are like maybe 27 or something now.
okay, I think, yeah, I was gonna say like 96. I'm a 93
Mhm.
baby. So maybe
Okay,
95,
yeah.
96 babies. So I'm like on the end kind of, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
And they're
feel like
really
once you,
long. The amount like of
yeah,
years of a
the
generation
gap,
is really long to
yeah,
like
it's
group
huge.
together.
Exactly. You can't just fit in a group. I feel like once you get to a certain age, you're kind of, I mean, you mature as you get older. You learn more things as you get older, but like almost personality, not saying people don't change, but I almost feel like, I don't even know. I'm a different person now, but I still feel like the me I was when I was 20 in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Mhm.
still me. I am very different now, but I don't know. It's weird.
Same.
I don't
I
know.
feel like I'm still the teenage version of myself. Obviously, a better version of myself as a teenager. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still rebellious, but in a different way.
Hmm.
I was
Yes.
extremely rebellious, like
Hmm.
to an extreme level.
Really? I was the
Yeah.
opposite. I was the opposite. Like polar opposite. I was a goody good. I was afraid to get in trouble. Super strict
Oh, I
upbringing.
thrived on it. I thrived on getting in trouble. I was good as a kid.
Oh.
When I was really
Mm,
young, I was just very mature as a kid. And then when
mm.
I was a teenager, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being good. I'm gonna be bad.
You hit the rebellious streak. Oh my gosh,
Oh my
that's
God.
hilarious.
I
No, I
feel
was
like
afraid.
my age group, the people that are like very close in age to me, I'm 34. I mean, we're the reason why you need an ID to buy cough syrup. Okay? Like, we're the reason. There's a lot of rules that are in play
Oh,
because of my
because of you
exact
guys.
actions.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
Oh my
Yeah, no,
God.
I was like, no, I was the opposite of that though. But because I was afraid, like my
Mm.
parents were strict. Like there was no straying. There was that was not a question. At
I
least that's
reached
how
a
I
point.
felt.
I reached a point where I was like, what's my mom really gonna do? And although I was still afraid of her, it was just that I lived with a single mom and she worked. So I just ran rampant. Like I just was
Right.
like, she went to work, she worked
You
nights.
could,
So I pretty much
mm,
just
so you couldn't
ran
do
wild.
anything. Oh,
Yeah.
see, I like, if I tried to sneak out, the alarm would go off, and then it would just be like there was no way.
And I think
That's
that's always
hilarious
like
though.
important to everyone's journey, especially,
Yeah.
talking about the soul stuff,
Hmm.
choosing our lives, choosing our parents, all of that.
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely, I'm grateful for
Yeah.
the crazy life that I've lived because now
Yeah.
I can be very together because I've already
Yeah.
like gone to the extreme of every side of
Everything.
everything.
It's so interesting because you're right. Everyone totally has their own complete unique, I guess, journeys, as cheesy as that sounds. For me, it's like stepping into who I am now. Like I'm grateful for my parents are super loving, by the way. Like everything they did is because it was the best for us. They believed it to be. Anyways, what was I completely just
That they did everything out of love.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, they did everything out of love, but we all are on our own like complete journeys. And like where I am now, I'm grateful for that because I had to like breaking out of like the people pleasing. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm really finally stepping into who I am now. And I feel like I was meant to kind of go through that. I was meant to go through that. I believe I was that's what I I believe to be who I am now. If I was a different person, I wouldn't be who I am now. So I fully believe that we choose that because I think that was a lesson that I was supposed to learn. And that's been huge in my growth, especially like recently, is not caring what other people think.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for my craziness, and I had a very just extreme life and like many different aspects. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's great because now, oops, I didn't realize that like I don't know that I was going to be in this position to be teaching people about these topics. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I needed to be that person that was like, I'm not going to fit in. In fact, I'm going to shave off my eyebrows, draw on demon eyebrows, and go to school and try to scare my teacher.
I think I've seen,
Because,
stop. Did you actually do that?
oh, yeah. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
I love that.
I
I love
would.
that.
I would wear underwear on the outside of my pants. And just because it was like, we had like a dress code.
Rattle somebody. Hmm.
Yeah, we had a dress code that we had to pretty much wear like almost uniforms.
Hmm.
So I would find every single way to break the rule. Like we had to wear like a black button-down shirt. I would wear a see-through black button-down shirt with lingerie underneath. Like
Stop. So
literally.
it's like you were technically following the rules because they didn't specify, whether the shirt was like
They
transparent
didn't
or
say
or
what
not.
fabric it had to be. I
Exactly.
honestly was like, now looking back, I was kind of a big gaslighter as a teenager, but in like the most like just funny way. It was because I found it so
Mm.
entertaining. Like
Like
we
you
had to
knew
wear
you
like
knew exactly what you were
what I
doing.
could get away with.
Mm. And you
Even
walked
like
that line.
the pants, I would like we had to wear like black or khaki pants. I would
Hmm.
wear black PVC shiny pants that were like slicked and like a see-through shirt with like lingerie
Oh,
underneath and like wear like demonic eyebrows and and I would just stay right within the dress code in a way that they would try to tell me that I couldn't wear that, but then I'd be like, but I don't
but why
understand.
not?
And that's where I would kind of like be a little
Oh,
bit of like a gaslighter as a teenager because
right.
I
You
would
knew
just
you
like
knew exactly. You knew what you were doing. I was
I
gonna say
could
I
get
would
away with
love.
anything as a kid.
Oh
But
my
I
gosh,
needed
that's
that
so
because
funny.
I honestly feel like a lot of people are going through that stage right now in their 30s.
Hmm.
I see,
Yeah.
especially we see it on like TikTok. I'm like, damn, y'all never got your rebellious stage. And
Yeah.
now you're
It's
making us
coming out.
all you're making us all sign up for your rebellious stage. I wish you would have just done it younger.
Just done it. Gotten it out of the way. No, that's hilarious. I was gonna say I would love to see your what's it called? Not Facebook, not like what was
Oh,
that
MySpace. Oh my God. I'll show you
MySpace.
some pictures.
Did you have a MySpace account?
Oh, of
Oh.
course I had a MySpace. Oh my God.
Ah.
I hope my MySpace never resurfaces.
I don't remember if I had one or not. I don't think I did because I probably wasn't allowed to. If I don't remember it, then I probably didn't have it. I did have MSN though. That was like the first kind of like
But
social media thing for
MSN didn't
me.
have any of like the fun stuff going on.
No, I know. MySpace was a whole other ball. Like I knew about MySpace. I knew what it was, but I don't think I had my own account. I don't think I was allowed. I don't think at least. I don't remember for sure.
It was probably for the
I
best.
gotta read some of these comments.
It was probably for the best that you didn't get to be on
Yeah.
MySpace
Sorry,
because
I feel like I've been ignored. Mhm.
the amount of older men that were
Is it, are you
predatory
looking at yours
on
now?
MySpace, you definitely were saved
Oh,
from that aspect of it.
God. Yeah.
You're breaking up
Totally.
a
I mean,
little
that's like
bit.
a whole other kind of, that's kind of like start of, not the start of the internet.
Oh,
Am
yeah.
I?
Yeah, there you are. You're breaking up a little bit. Let's Yeah, the internet was the Wild West back in the day. Okay, I think you're back there. Nice.
Am I back? Am I
Yeah.
back? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
Okay. Okay. Oh no, let me know if that happens again. I could move like inside. Maybe I don't know if it's my location. What was I
I
saying though?
think
I
it's
was
good
gonna
now.
say something. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. You were talking about the can of wor or the creepy men on MySpace. I'm like, that's I guess when all of that started. That's a whole other thing. Like just how dangerous the internet can be too with predators, and that was just like that we didn't really realize how dangerous it could be back then. You know, we had no clue what it was going to turn into. Now it's like once something's out there, it's out there,
It's
you know.
true.
Um,
I
and just the
definitely think
access.
that's one thing about the generation things that I will say. The older millennials, nobody knows what we dealt with on the early internet days because it was the Wild West. It was the complete
I'm
Wild West.
curious.
But
I
thankfully, unlike the younger generation, it doesn't really exist anymore. You know, like what we did
yeah.
on the internet doesn't really exist anymore. But unfortunately for kids today, they can't get away from any of it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I even like Facebook, like even that was a little bit more um what's the word? Not as much as MySpace, but like more
Yeah,
I don't know, in comparison to today at least. Today it's like every single little thing. People are watching every single thing. You have to like create profiles for yourself. What's your online persona? You know what I mean?
it's so
It's
true.
it's interesting.
And
It's
TikTok
yeah,
has completely, I mean, TikTok is obviously my favorite of all the platforms.
me
Um,
too.
for obvious reasons, but
Mm-hmm.
also I feel like it's like kind of the first platform that really like rewarded authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. That's very true because with other platforms like Instagram, for example, if you did not have an aesthetically pleasing, perfect page, you were not going to be successful.
I know, and it's so crazy because now a lot of the people who had this very like fake curated life don't really translate to TikTok because
Yeah.
even too, like people don't fall for stuff anymore. At least people on TikTok do not fall for shit. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people will kind of try to hide an ad in their video and people will
Mm-hmm.
literally be like, just say it's an
That's
ad,
yeah,
you
like just put
know?
it just put it in your caption. It's easy. And it's there's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
that either. Just be open about it,
And that's
you
what it
know?
is that people just want the transparency. So,
Totally. Yeah.
but also TikTok is a little bit of a beast too, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
It
It
gets
yeah,
ramped
kind of
up.
can be like sometimes like it does things that yeah, certain it I don't even know how to explain it. Pros and cons for sure. Authenticity is it rewarding people who are authentic, but at the same time, it's not very good at like stopping like there's not much, what's the word? People get away with a lot on there. And sometimes TikTok is over strict on people for no reason. It's just,
It's
I don't
so
know.
true.
It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense to
it
me
doesn't make
sometimes.
sense. There's no rhyme or
Yeah,
reason to it. People get their
yeah,
accounts down over nothing, and then other
yeah,
people literally have their entire account, which is a bullying account that they do nothing else
yeah,
but bullying. All of their content is bullying,
yeah,
and they never get taken down for bullying, which I always
yeah,
find very interesting because I'm like,
yeah.
because I've had videos taken down for bullying, which I've never even talked about like another person mostly.
Anybody?
Yeah,
No,
like I don't
yeah,
even talk about
that's
people. Even if
confusing.
people are making videos about me, I won't make a video to
Yeah,
respond.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
crazy that I'm like, how did my video get taken down for bullying? But literally, there's people with millions of followers that only bully.
I've had some of my videos taken down for that too, and my videos are never about anybody else. Like
Yeah.
I don't even really talk about other, you know what I mean? Like I don't talk about authors or anything. Like my videos are readings and my dowsing rods. I'm like I'm confused. What did I do here? sometimes it's when I ask like those conspiracy questions, I
Mhm.
notice that some of my videos like will take an extra long time to process and won't like it'll say it's posted, but it'll be processing for like a day before it's actually processed, and that video doesn't do nearly as good because it's been posted for, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I wonder if that
Mhm.
was intentional.
What's
It's
crazy is
weird.
all of my videos did that from May until just a couple weeks ago. Every single one of my videos goes under review and stays under review for
Uh,
a crazy amount of time. I actually figured out a hack. I'll text it
mhm.
to you of how I was
Okay.
able to get around getting all of my videos stuck under review because it was so frustrating. It was actually like really discouraging me from
It
posting
is totally.
because
Yeah,
it's
I get
so
that.
annoying. You put all this work into a video and then it just
Yeah.
is processing and you're like, is it ever going to get
Yeah.
approved? Are they
Is it,
ever going to post
yeah.
it?
Yeah. And and oh, there was something else too I was gonna say about TikTok, but I got distracted by a comment.
And so,
Anyways,
we see
sorry.
different comments. So who's ever
Yeah,
on
because
yours?
you're seeing on yours, yeah, we have different. I feel like I should read the comments, but then it's like
Yeah.
reading the comment, I get distracted. I'm like, oh man, I can't multitask. But people are talking about their dream. Oh, Queens together. The collab I needed.
Aw.
I'll just say hi. Oh, somebody said hi, Miss Bento. Hello, I have, I guess, an old student there. Uh, I wonder if they heard me talking about them earlier. I was talking about teaching earlier. Anyways, what was I going to say though? I had something good. It'll come back. Something about TikTok and them. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. People have been commenting lately saying, like, you haven't been coming up on my For You page. Like, I haven't been seeing your videos. And I'm like, I don't like, I'm like, oh, like the people that follow me aren't even seeing my content. It's, I don't know. Oh, well,
It's
it's a
crazy. You
beast.
show up on mine a lot. Like, you
Okay,
will
okay,
show up
that's good.
like 3 videos in a row on my For You,
Really
which is
interesting.
interesting.
Weird.
But also,
Weird.
we message each other. So I think that that might
That's
play a part
true.
into it.
That's true. Because you show up on mine all the time as well. I was gonna
So
say
it
it's the universe
knows.
yeah, the universe telling us to collab.
I know. This is a long time coming. So let's see. Does anyone have any questions? Maybe for the dowsing rods, maybe just in general. Okay, so on this side, he says, you know how Pleiadian agenda, they say that you can tap into frequencies and hear when the government is listening. Interesting. I don't remember that part of the Pleiadian agenda, but I do know that they say you can tap into the different frequencies. I just don't remember the part that they say that we could tell when the government's listening. I think they're always listening because the technology that is on, say, like TikTok, to be able to analyze every video of billions of videos and be able to see the words in every video, I'm sure that that is not a new technology.
I truly, truly, truly 100% believe that we are being watched all the time. Like all the time. I yeah, I 100% believe that. I don't know.
Okay, someone's asking, are aliens in favor of disclosure? I think that's pretty complex because there's a lot of different types of aliens. I think some want it, and I think maybe some might not.
Interesting. Let me see here.
Especially too, if there's ones that are interfering with Earth. I think the ones that are interfering don't probably want disclosure just yet because it would shine light maybe on them or what they're doing. What is the physical form that souls take on while interacting with each other? Or do they see just energies or a physical? Um, I think most of like souls and stuff, they kind of are just energy, but sometimes they'll present themselves in a
Hmm.
way that either they enjoyed that life, that maybe would have been one of their favorite forms, so they show themselves that way, but it's not physical, or sometimes they'll show themselves in the way that people feel most comfortable with, you know? So like sometimes an alien might show itself as a human to make you more comfortable, or as an angel, you know?
I agree. I agree with you for whoever's asking. I feel like they show themselves in a way, yeah, that we're comfortable or that in a way we would understand.
This is me too. So, Candy says, I literally have so many questions. I cannot think of a single one right now. That's me all the time.
I I have someone asking about a spirit. Let me see. I had a dream about my grandma who passed. Odd for me. I asked her to show me if she was a guide, to show me a blue jay on my bike ride. Nothing for a few days. And last Friday, I saw two blue jays land in my backyard. It could
Oh.
be your grandma for sure. It could just be her sending you a sign to let you know that she's with you. I can't help but believe my grandma gave me a sign. Yeah, it could just be her saying, especially if you ask for it and people don't realize this. Like you can ask for signs from your guides, from your past loved ones, and you can be specific like that. So I would believe for sure that is her just kind of saying hello.
And that's one of the things too that like Dolores Cannon talks about a lot is that, and a lot of people talk about that basically you do need to ask because we have free will,
Hmm.
even with like healings or something, like they can help you. Angels can
Yeah,
help you, your spirit guides can help you, your loved ones can help you. But if you don't ask, they can't really interfere because it would be imposing on your free will. So if we're kind of just waiting for it to happen, it might not happen. Even something too with like say being sick, you know, they say that like they can help you heal, but you have to make it very clear that you don't want to be sick and that you want their help in moving this through you. Because
I
otherwise, you know, they can't make that decision for you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've actually heard that too. I don't know necessarily exactly what I believe because I believe sometimes they do interfere without our help. However, I do believe that we should ask, and I have heard that you do, and you could ask like specific like angels of healing, help heal me, angels of love, help with, with certain things.
Yeah, and I think too, especially the times that they will interfere is usually like a life or death situation, you know? So
Yeah,
it's like
like big things.
those they will,
Yeah,
but kind of short of that, a lot of times they're waiting for you to ask.
yeah. No, I've heard that before. I
Oh,
have a question. Is there a difference between spirit guides and angels? So, yes, they are. I mean, they're both there to help us in like different ways. Spirit guides, I guess, act more so as a guide, like think of like a teacher in some type of way. Angels, they obviously are here to teach too, but in a different type of way. I don't know if you can touch on that more. If you know, I don't know if
yeah.
you know it much about that, but that's, I guess, this in simple terms. That's how I would explain it.
I totally agree. And I think sometimes angels are a little bit more
Forceful,
they
like,
have kind of like a bigger group that they look over. So like it's
mm-hmm,
kind of like sometimes I hear it described like our spirit guide could be like our immediate teacher, and maybe something
mm-hmm,
like the angels could be more like the principal of the school or something like that, where
mm-hmm,
like they have a lot more people to watch over. So
mm-hmm,
you can connect with the angels, but kind of like your spirit guide is much more, has a smaller group to worry about, and you know
mm-hmm.
is focusing more on you guys. So both are like really helpful. Also too, I mean, I love angels, but angels are badass, you know. Angels are,
Yeah, like you don't
when
mess
you
with
ask angels
angels.
for help, sometimes you have to be prepared that like sometimes they're willing to teach you the hard lesson. You know, they're not only just gentle giving you what you want. Sometimes
Tough
they're like
love.
ready to teach you the, yeah, the lesson in a hard way. They're like, "Okay." You asked for it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel your
Oh.
spirit guides are a lot more gentle in the way that they're
Hmm.
a little bit more nurturing directly because they're much closer to you.
Hmm. I agree. I agree with that. They say that makes sense. Thank you. You are very welcome.
All
See if
right.
we
Does
get
anyone
any
have
other questions.
collective questions for the dowsing rods, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I could pull them out.
So I thought was very interesting. You did one video with the dowsing rods. And you
Hmm.
asked about the flat earth and the
Yeah,
firmament and stuff,
I
which was a very interesting one. And um Vuvu said yes to the firmament.
he did. We can ask again. Let me it's saying yes. Ooh, the energy is really strong right now. Boo Boo, if you're with me, can you cross for yes, please? Thank you. Can you open wide, please, to indicate no? I always just like to do this at the beginning. Thank you. And can you show me where you are, please, Boo Boo? Where is your energy at this time? Can you show me with both rods, please? I feel like this is going to turn this way. Sometimes it goes like this. There we go. Thank you.
And so
Okay.
he's
Oh
always
wait.
in the same spot, right?
He's always on the left side, always. And it's funny because sometimes people will comment, "Oh, he's on the other side today." I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm just using like a different, like sometimes like the camera mirrors or it doesn't mirror depending. It depends whether I'm using the app or my camera. So, anyways, but
Yeah.
he's always on the left.
And it's also weird how we all look different too. Like sometimes if you record it differently, your face looks totally different.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and sometimes because like it'll flip it anyways. The energy is really strong right now, though. I'll say that because like it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like um, you could see
So
them kind of moving around.
I want to ask about what we started with about the holographic inserts.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So are this idea, this concept of holographic inserts that we talked about earlier, is that true?
Okay,
That
so the idea,
some events are inserted into our hologram and are not real events.
okay, I'm gonna re-ask it because I'm wearing my headphones right now. Spirit probably knows, but I'm gonna ask that the answer is wait for the answer until like wait for me to finish asking the question. Is that okay? Because sometimes it'll answer and I'm not even done the question and then I like doubt. Thank you. Okay, so we're curious about the holographic inserts. Is this something that is actually true in our reality? Is this actually possible? It's saying yes.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Okay. Are any, and we won't ask specifically, but just general, are any global events that we see in the media actually just holographic inserts that did not really happen?
So are there any global events that are happening or have happened? Are any of these in our experience currently? Have any of them been holographic inserts? Oh, it's saying no.
Ooh, wow. That's interesting.
Interesting. I was expecting it to say yes, if I'm being
Me
honest.
too. Well, that's also comforting
Yeah, yeah, it is,
to
not gonna
know
lie.
that the events that we're being told are actually real events, that they're not inserts.
Mhm.
Are
I
these
believe
inserts,
that
are they
I was gonna
created?
say,
Sorry.
sorry,
I'm so
I was
excited.
gonna add, you go.
Are these inserts created by like a species of aliens?
Are these inserts created by an alien species of sorts? Okay, it's like a really slow. It's saying yes. It's going to yes, but it's like really slow. I feel like it's probably a lot more complicated than that.
Interesting.
But it did say yes.
So when it comes very slow like that, it means sometimes that it's kind of like,
Sometimes I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
someone says must be complicated. Yeah, it probably
yeah.
is.
Or like even potentially something that our like human brains can't even comprehend, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then this has me thinking. I have a lot of questions about the Dimension series that I'm doing.
Okay.
So, other planets, are these the way that we see them? Are they
Hmm.
actually higher dimensional beings and not what we believe planets to be?
So, okay, so our planets, let's break this up a little bit. Like
Okay.
our planets what we think they are. Like the way they are told to us and taught to us, are planets what we perceive them to be? No.
Ooh, hoo,
Okay.
hoo.
So what was the second part to that question?
Are
Something about
they higher
dimensional.
dimensional beings?
Are planets higher dimensional beings of some sort? It's saying yes. It's going slow though,
Okay.
but it's saying yes.
So when people believe that they are a starseed from another planet, are they actually from that planet or are they an aspect of that being?
Okay, so when people believe to be a starseed from another planet, are they actually from that planet, like physically, or are they, say that again,
Or
or are
are
they
they
an
just an
aspect,
aspect of that being?
or are they an, oh wait, we
Or
need to
like a
break this up.
fractal
Okay,
of that being?
right. So, okay, when people are claim or believe to be starseeds, are they actually physically from another space, another planet? Are they physically from somewhere else? We gotta like break it up slow. It's not really answering this question. It's kind of saying no. It's saying no, but it's
Mm-hmm.
slow no. Okay. And then the second part is, are they
Are we
more,
fractal? Are we
are we
fractals of those?
fractals? Are we fractals of those beings? It's saying yes. It's saying
Ooh, wow, boo
interesting.
boo.
He's coming in tonight.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay, let's see. There's so many complex questions. I know. I'm always asking ridiculously complex questions. Let's see if anyone else
No,
has
it's
any
interesting.
questions.
I have a question here. Medical medium says we can heal from the moon. Can you ask if it's true? Can we actually use the moon's energy to heal? It's saying yes. That was a pretty quick yes.
Ooh.
That was a pretty quick yes. Yeah.
Is the moon
Interesting.
actually a moon?
Is the moon actually a moon the way? No, it's saying no.
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh.
Um, is the moon a satellite?
Ooh, is the moon a satellite? Is the moon a satellite? It's also saying no.
Is it a spaceship?
Wait for them to go. Is the moon a spaceship? It's saying no.
Whoa. Oh my God. Is the moon a being?
Is is the moon a being of some sort? A being or an energy source? Something more so along those lines. Super slow, but it's saying yes, but it's super slow moving right now.
Wow.
Interesting. But that was a really, again, a slow, like, I think there's a lot more to that one.
What about the
Interesting.
sun? Is the sun a different type of being than the moon?
Is the sun a different type of being than the moon? It's saying yes.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Someone's asking, is the moon closer than we think? And I'm
Is
assuming
the
by
moon
like scientists' measurements.
okay? Is the moon closer than we believe, than what we actually think? It's saying yeah, it's going towards yes, but it's a slow moving again. Yes.
And so some people are asking
Interesting.
questions about uh, dreams also and lucid dreaming. So let's see.
Okay. I have one more question on the sun, if that's okay,
Oh,
since we're
yeah.
on that topic. Can we heal from the sun? Can we heal from the sun? Yes. It's saying yes.
Ooh,
Wait for
okay.
them to go.
Ooh, someone is also asking about the Anunnaki. Oops. Um, are the on they're basically asking, did the Anunnaki create us?
Okay, did the Anunnaki create us? They're not answering.
Mm, I'm
They're
sure
not
it's very
answering.
complicated. And that's like they're like, nope. Um, okay. Danny is asking, are we astral projecting at night when we sleep?
Do we astral project at night? Yes.
That was such a
I'm
fast yes.
that was a fast yes. That was really fast. I wonder if we all hold on, wait for these to go back around. Oh my gosh, it's holding the yes. Okay. Do we astral project in our sleep like all the time, like every night? It's saying no to that.
Ooh.
Interesting. I don't know.
So when we sleep, are we doing work on the other side, like spirit work or soul work?
Um, are we doing spirit or soul work when we sleep? Yes. Kind of a slow yes, but it was saying yes.
And I feel like that might be because it's not all the time. Maybe, like you said, some nights
Yeah.
we're astral traveling, sometimes we're not.
Um, can someone be unaware that they're astral projecting when they sleep?
Mhm.
Can people be unaware? Yeah, it's saying yes right away.
Mhm.
Interesting. Are vivid dreams a sign of astral projection? Ooh, it's saying yes.
Ooh.
Do you have more questions on your end?
Yeah. So, someone is asking, which I love this question, is the Mandela effect a result of parallel universes?
Is the Mandela effect a result of parallel universes? Saying yes.
Ooh.
Again, slow, but it's saying
Exactly. We're
yes.
asking very complicated questions tonight.
It is.
Do we live in other timelines when we are dreaming?
Oh, do we ever visit? Should I say visit or live? Like,
Yeah.
do we ever visit other timelines when we're sleeping? Do we ever visit other timelines while we're sleeping? Yes.
Ooh.
Should I ask if we live in another timeline?
Ah.
Like, I wonder if there's like one. I'm just gonna write this. Do we ever live in like one timeline when we sleep? Like, live out another complete timeline through sleep? No.
Wow. One thing that's crazy is, I've seen this on TikTok recently. It's not exactly a question, but where people say if you ask someone the date or the time in a dream, that you'll actually be surprised by the answer. And I actually had a friend do that years ago, and it was
Uh-huh.
2017, which is so weird.
Interesting. Interesting. So she must have been lucid dreaming then, because you need to be aware that you're dreaming in order to ask that question, right?
Mhm. I'm not
Interesting.
the best dreamer in general. I barely remember my dreams.
Yeah.
So for me to lucid dream is pretty rare. And if I
Say,
do, I'm probably gonna fly.
do you know what? I'm the same way. I do dream, but oftentimes I don't remember my dreams until it happens. Like I dream a lot, and then whatever I dream of happens, and then when it happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a dream about that. But
Wow.
those are more so the dreams I have. But sometimes I forget that I had the dream, and then the incident happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a dream. Those are more so my dreams, but sometimes I do dream, but I don't. If I do more, I don't remember them very much either. So I do lucid dream once in a while, but it's not super common.
Yeah, I have like very long adventure dreams where it's like this point to this point to this point to this point, and it's always in like kind of like a mesh of many different cities. Like it's not a city that I've
Oh,
actually been to
oh,
or not.
interesting.
Is lucid dreaming astral projection?
Is lucid dreaming astral projection? Saying no.
Ooh.
I think astral projection and astral traveling are two different things. Is this
Sounds
true? Is astral projection and traveling different? It's saying yes. Again, a slow yes, but it's saying yes. Interesting. Because I think like astral projection is more so like projecting your consciousness, like kind of somewhere else, more similar to lucid dreaming, but not the same. But astral travel is more so when, like, when people like say they're floating above their body and they could like
Mhm.
see, that's more so like being able to travel as opposed to just like your consciousness, I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, I totally because then there's also kind of like mental projection, So that's what I wonder, is mental projection and astral projection the same? Because I've also heard that they're different.
So wait, what's a mental projection then? Or how would you
More
define
like
mental projection?
visualization. Yeah, more like visualization. And someone had like kind of argued with me in the comments about this, even though I actually didn't say that. But I was describing like mental projection, and the person was like, well, that's not astral projection. And they were saying that astral projection is more so your spirit going as opposed to your consciousness going.
Okay.
That's what I wonder. Are
Interesting.
all
Okay.
three of them different things?
Okay, so is mental projection different than astral, what I described astral projection to be then? Is mental projection different than what I described astral projection to be? No, it's saying no.
Ooh. Okay, so the
So
astral projection is the same as mental projection.
more so mental projection. Oh, it's saying yes to that.
Mm.
Okay, interesting. So astral, I mean, I don't know if I'm getting the terms right then, but I guess mental projection or astral, what I described astral projection to be, more so the same. That makes sense. Like kind of like your consciousness elsewhere, your mind elsewhere. But
Mhm.
astral travel is more so you're like physically like
Yeah,
viewing.
your like spirit is going.
Yeah, interesting.
Wow. So then that
I've,
makes sense too for the dreaming. Because if
hmm,
you're dreaming, if it's mental projection mostly,
yeah,
then you really are, your consciousness really is going somewhere
is
else.
elsewhere. That makes sense.
Jimmy is asking, is spirit the same thing as consciousness?
Okay. Ooh, that's a good question. I'll wait for these to settle. I have 111 people in the watching, by the way, just a little angel number there. Sorry, say that. Is consciousness the
Is
same as
spirit the same
spirit?
thing as consciousness?
Is spirit and consciousness the same thing? It's saying it's saying no, but it really
Ooh.
slow, but really slowly. It's like a really slow no. Interesting.
Okay, I love this question. There are people who claim to be time travelers. Are there time travelers among us?
Are there actually time travelers among us? Well, let me ask this again. It's not answering. Are there actually time travelers among us? So it's slowly going towards the yes, but like really slow.
Mm,
Like we're getting some slow answers tonight. It's saying yes,
well, we're
though.
asking really complex questions. These are
Yes,
not the
that's
normal
true.
ones.
That's very true.
Okay. Also, are there alien species among us?
Are there alien species among us? Yes, it's saying yes. Slowly.
Someone is saying maybe because time doesn't exist in the astral could make it more complicated.
Mm, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Looking at when I dream of family that has passed talking to me in my dream, is that them connecting with me or contacting me? Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Past loved ones visit in like the dream state all the time because it's easier for them to because we're more so lucid. I don't know. We're more so in that, that state you need to be in to connect. We're in that state naturally in the state of sleep. So it's easier for us to get messages from those who have passed. So that's so beautiful.
Aw. And it makes sense too. It's like a gentle way to get the message because if they were to see
Mm-hmm.
it when they're awake, it might be
Mm-hmm.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
Danny's asking if pets that have passed also watch over us.
Okay. Do pets that have, yes. So
Oh,
if
that
you're
was so
wondering,
fast.
that was a fast, if you're wondering about pets, I literally just posted a podcast episode today and I interviewed a pet medium. It's super interesting. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's a little bit of a tearjerker. I was crying a little bit during the episode, but it's like a beautiful episode because pets are so pure and like they have souls, guys. They have souls. So listen to that episode. It's on my YouTube too. My links are in my bio if you're interested because it's,
Can you
yeah.
tell us a couple highlights that like
Yeah.
really stuck
So,
out to you?
yeah. So basically pets have souls, absolutely. And they're with us all the time. They're always with us and they do send you signs. And it could be like little things. Like sometimes people will want like a sign from a pet and they're expecting like this magical thing to happen when really it could be as simple as like another animal, like, or a butterfly flying up to you. They often send signs in that way. Or if you might hear like little tippy taps like on the floor, stuff like that. And they do come. And one thing that I thought was funny, she shared a story about how, because I asked, can past pets play with like your current pets? Because I was asking, like, do they care if you get a new pet? And they're like, no, like they want you to get a new pet. They want you to be happy. And oftentimes they'll come and play with the new pet. But there was this one time where there was this like cat that had passed and the cat grew up with this dog, but after the cat passed, the ghost or the cat spirit kept coming back and like scaring the dog, and the cat thought
Oh,
it was funny, and the dog like didn't like it anyways because this medium does kind of like communicates with animals that are currently alive as well. So the dog was saying like, tell her to like stop scaring me, like I don't like it, basically. But most of the time it's like they don't come to scare your animals. I just thought that was funny, but they can play with your current pets, and they're always there. They're always there. They're with you just the way like a past loved one would be. So
Oh, that's
it
so
was
cute.
it was like pets are so pure and they deserve the best. So just animals in general, but
I know. They're just the best. We're so lucky to have them,
I
especially.
know they're all so good.
Aw. Wow. I think I had one question. It left me about the pets.
Oh no.
What was it? If it comes to me, we can ask.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Do aliens have their own pets? I have heard other people ask this before, in like type of stuff like Dolores, like channeling and hypnosis. A lot of times the answer that comes through is that most of them don't, because they don't like to have ownership over another animal. But then I've also heard other people say that there's a dog race who has primates as a pet. And that's part of this like cosmic connection that we have, that they actually have primate pets, and that the dog people somewhere have this. So I don't know.
That's so interesting. It's funny you say that most of them don't because they don't want to have ownership of like another soul, I guess. Because when I was talking to the medium, I told her I was like, you kind of almost changed my perspective on pets because it's like, yeah, we own them, and I think I even like said that like in the episode. I was like, because we feed them and care for them, but like we don't own their soul. They're here for an experience just the same way that we are. You know what I mean? So it's like we don't we care for them, we don't own them though, I
Yeah.
don't know. It was just really interesting, so it's funny you say that, but we can ask about, do are there any alien species that have pets the way we have pets? Oh, it's saying no.
Ooh. See, now that I could believe, because I've heard that most in
Interesting.
other things where it's been that they don't have ownership over animals in the way that we do.
Yeah, it said no pretty quick too.
Also, this is in Journey of Souls, and I've seen it also on Cosmic Disclosure, that after animals interact with us and they have a life with us, can they be a human in their next life?
After animals have had like a life as a pet or a couple of lives as a pet with humans, like, being a pet, can they then incarnate into being a human? Okay, it's saying yes.
Ooh, that makes me so happy.
Um,
Sometimes I like
I
look into dogs' eyes and I'm like, you're gonna be a little boy in your next
Yeah.
life, aren't you?
Oh, some of them are just so like smart almost. I don't know. They definitely, I don't know. I'm sometimes I'm like, I wish I just could like put my brain in their brain for a minute to know exactly what, you know what I mean, what they're thinking and what they kind of pick up on. Because I almost feel like animals are a lot more open, like psychically, than we are. So even though like we think, oh, animals, they're so like, some people are like, oh, they're so like dumb, or it's like, are they though, or
Mhm.
are they just seeing a lot more other things that maybe we don't see, you know?
Exactly. And also don't they don't sign up for the lessons that we do. So it's also like their life is more simple because the lessons that they're at, because sometimes when I talk about like in my soul series, we talked about like pets being
Mm-hmm.
at a lower level of consciousness than humans, and some people don't like to hear that. And they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of well, they understand conditional love, so they're better than us, so they're actually at
Mm,
a higher level.
mm,
And yeah, they understand unconditional love because they're closer to source than we are,
mm-hmm,
but
mm,
they're also not signing up for these super complicated lessons of trauma
right.
and abuse and all the horrible stuff that we experience as humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, dogs
It's,
do sometimes are abused by humans,
yeah.
but they're not
Yeah.
signing up for this type of uh
Right.
lesson.
Interesting. It's,
Someone wants to
mm.
know if it can be vice versa. Can a human become an animal in their next life on Earth?
Okay. I've asked this question before, to be honest, and I've gotten mixed answers. Can a human then become an animal? Can they incarnate into an animal? So it is saying yes, but I have gotten no in the past with this one too.
Interesting. I have heard from
So
Journey of Souls and from Dolores's books, it says no,
yeah.
that they can, that it
Mm,
used to happen, but that the level of consciousness that humans are at now, that they can't
hmm.
anymore.
Oh,
But then I heard from
interesting.
another book called Laws of the Spirit World that
Yeah.
sometimes if a human is so horrible, like they're just like a serial killer,
Hmm.
basically, that they have to start
Right.
over again. And they
Interesting.
do have to go through those bottom levels of consciousness again.
Yeah, interesting. Because this is almost one of the one, because most of the time, like I'd say 95 to 99% of the time, the answers I get are consistent, like
Mhm.
majority. But this is one of the questions where it never really is. Um, yeah, I don't
And
know.
who knows, maybe there's other animals that are at a higher consciousness too, like that maybe we are
Yeah,
aware of.
yeah. I And like what I always think too, it's like, okay, well, what is the lesson your soul needs? So you are going to come to this physical reality in whatever form that may be to learn that lesson. That's how I think
Yeah.
see it. But
And so when I had done hypnosis on someone, one of the people said that their past life, they were a plant. The life right before this, they were a plant. I was like,
oh,
wow.
that's a huge jump.
But it was interesting because before we did anything, she said that she feels like she's a super young soul. And like or she was like, I think I'm a very young soul, which very few people say. Everyone thinks they're an old
Yeah,
soul.
yeah,
And
it's
she was like,
true.
I think I'm very young. And what was crazy is she said her last life, she was literally a plant. So when she went to a past life, she couldn't go. She just went to the earlier parts of this life. So I was like, I always think about
Whoa.
that. And that's what they say is if we give unconditional love to something, we can help it individualize and become an individual soul, become a human. So like,
Oh,
what if we have a
giving
house
love to
plant?
plants. Yeah,
Yeah, you
giving
have a
love to
plant that you
it.
truly love. I mean, I have a plant,
Oh,
Herman, and I've had him for like 7 years. So I hope that
oh,
Herman
he can.
gets to be a person.
I mean,
And then in his next life, Herman's like, "Really? You did this to me? You
yeah,
made
you
me
did
a
this.
human?
Why?
You know
Yeah.
how bad this
Like out of everything. That's
is?"
so funny. Because like I believe that we do start like either water, wind, air, fire. We start as an
Ooh,
element, and then I believe this is my belief. I believe we, then evolve into like yeah, like being a part of the earth, like a plant, and then into different animal beings more and more and more, and then a human, and that's my belief though. But
wow. I could see that. And also it's interesting that you say that about the elements because I've seen other things that talk about this, that there is kind of these like kind of also where they say like there's like the four angels that watch over Earth. I've heard a lot of
mm-hmm.
people interpret that actually as like the four elements, that there's kind of like
Interesting.
we're all kind of either these creation became the
Mm-hmm.
elements before it started to become individual consciousness.
Interesting.
Wow.
Um,
Is saying that her grandma has had a plant for 70 years. It was her mom's. Yep. Well, then
Wow.
that makes sense why some people could jump from being a plant to a human.
That's insane. That, yeah. She must have had a great, whoever took care of her in her past life must have loved the shit out of her.
Right?
Yeah.
And someone is asking, can pets be spirit guides? Did you guys talk about
I
that on
was
the podcast?
I was just gonna read that same question because I have the same question here. That's hilarious.
Oh, love it.
I think we did touch on it, but what she talked about is like pets aren't they don't always become your spirit guide. They almost become like your new pet spirit guides.
Oh,
Yeah, which I thought was like super sweet. I could ask the rods that too. Um, do pets do pets ever act as a spirit guide for, hold on, I need to wait for them to settle. Sorry. Hold on. The energy is like heavy right now. Okay. Can pets become your spirit guide after they pass? Does this happen sometimes? It's saying yes. Yes. Thank you. Does, I'll wait for them to go back and then I'm going to ask one more. Does this always happen, or sometimes do they act perhaps as a spirit guide for your new pets? Also, yes. Yeah, like what I think, and based off of after speaking with the medium, it's like sometimes they can become like a type of spirit guide to you, but not always. It just kind of depends on like what you need, what they need. Yeah, but they do say that. Hold on, is seeing I'm seeing is seeing your birthday all the time the same as seeing an angel number? I just that question caught me because somebody else actually asked me that today during a reading. Um, I want to say yet like yes and no. It's a personal number to you. So if you're seeing like your birthday or somebody else's birthday a lot, it could simply be like your guides kind of sending you a message saying like we're with you, we're here. It doesn't necessarily need to mean anything specific, but it could be them just kind of like saying hello. Or if it's somebody else's birthday, especially if that person had passed, it could be like them coming in and saying hello. So, yeah. Sorry, I got
So that's
distracted
an
off the pets
interesting
there, but
comment.
mhm.
But someone is asking for me to mention to you to stay hydrated, please.
Oh, thank you. Am I not drinking enough water? I'll grab a sip. Here we go.
Yeah, I think for
Can
everyone, because someone people are asking about different numbers. I don't know if the numbers have like kind of overarching beliefs for everyone, or is
mhm.
it mostly like exactly like a personal message, with the angel
Yeah,
numbers?
yeah, so I could ask the Rods about it, but I actually have a whole episode on that on my YouTube and my podcast as well. Like I talk
Ooh.
about that. I explain that. So my belief with that based on like my understanding is numbers sometimes they can mean a specific thing, but they don't always. It's like don't always look into like not every angel number is going to carry a specific message. Sometimes it could just mean like for me, for example, if I'm like worried about something, like I'm trusting the universe, I'm like oh no, like it's not happening, and then all of a sudden I start seeing angel numbers, I'm like no no no, like relax, like they're just kind of telling me like don't worry, we're here, we got you, you have no reason to stress. But there's been other times where I've seen a specific number and it did hold kind of like it did mean something. I'll give you a personal example. Like my boyfriend and I broke up, so my ex, we broke up in May, and literally a week before we broke up, I started seeing 555 and fives and 55s everywhere. So I'm the type of person that sees angel numbers all the time, every day, like all any day. But specifically fives were standing out to me, and I'm like, okay, like I'm feeling like there's a message here. So I Google it. I'm like, spiritual meaning of 555, and oftentimes you'll see a bunch of different meanings for that angel
Mm.
number. You could read through them, and I always say go with whatever resonates with you. If you feel in your gut like oh, like for whatever reason, like I felt something with that, that could be indicative of it, being a sign for you. Like for me in this example, I looked at 555, and what resonated with me was big change coming, Literally, after looking it up, the next day we broke up. And I lived with him for 2 years. So, like, that was a huge change in my life. And it ended up like I'm a different person now. So that was a specific message at that time, but not every number you see is going to carry weight like that. So that's kind of, was that answering the question? I feel like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I totally agree too about like kind of like the relationships ending. Um,
Hmm.
it's really sometimes, the breakup is the breakthrough. It
It
really
was
is.
the best thing that's ever happened to me.
And it feels horrible in the moment.
Truly.
There is like nothing
Yeah.
worse in the moment. But
Yeah.
as you break through, you just really see that like the life that you're having right now, you could have
Hmm.
never had in that relationship.
100%. And you gave me chills by saying that. And it's funny we're talking about this because that's initially when we were supposed to go live together,
I
was way back in
remember.
May. And I canceled on you because I was like, hey, look, like I got a lot going on right now. Like I'm gonna have to take a rain check.
It was
And you
like
were super good
yesterday
about
and you're
it.
yeah, it was
Like
like the
literally,
day
like
before.
yeah, just happened, and I was like, "There's no," because I was an emotional mess for one. For two, I was frantically trying to find like a new apartment to live in. Like my mind was everywhere else. So here we are. How many months later? May, June, July, August, September. Like 5 months later, basically. But I'm a different person. Like it's
Mhm.
better. Yeah, I'm a different person. Like you said, it was the breakthrough. It was the best thing that's ever happened to me. So yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone's going through heartbreak out there, just know like it'll get better. Like I promise.
And also my suggestion, because, I do lean more towards people should just break up a lot of times. I really think that if someone out there is going through that, don't try to force it back together out of the fear of like not having that, because you're actually
Mhm.
a lot of times blocking your blessings that are coming.
Mhm.
For me, I went through a breakup maybe like about 5 months or less, maybe like 4 months before I started using TikTok.
Mhm.
So I had no idea that my entire life was going to change, and it would have never happened. If I was still in that relationship, I would have never even downloaded TikTok.
Right. Yeah.
So you
Um
don't know what's waiting for you. So it's like, be willing to
yeah.
let go. It hurts,
No,
but be willing.
no, I agree with you 100%. I couldn't have said it better. Um just know that there's sometimes you need to let things go in order for other things to flow in. And oftentimes we feel like we need to stay with someone because of societal constructs, because we're fearful of letting go, because we're afraid to start new. Oftentimes we're so wrapped up in the relationship, it's scary because we don't even know who we are anymore.
Mm.
But it's amazing things can come out of it. I'm not telling you to break up with your partners or anything like that, but uh, yeah, anyways.
I totally, totally agree. And honestly, every breakup that I've had in my life, when I look
Hmm.
back, I'm like, wow, I would not even be where I am, who I am, have the information I do. I mean, the book
Hmm.
Journey of Souls, I started reading that through another breakup, the breakup before this last one. So I feel like I've
Wow.
also had huge spiritual breakthroughs with every
Hmm.
breakup, on top of like my life,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
spiritual journey changes too.
Yeah. Well, like I'm telling, like same with me. Like if I was still in that relationship, I would not have quit my job. Like I would
Mm.
not be doing this right now, because that was holding me down from that. Um, like my and like I wouldn't be pursuing my dreams. Like my dream right now, if I and I know this is a big dream, but you got to dream big. If I could like travel worldwide and provide mediumship readings, because I'm developing my mediumship, so I'm not offering those as of right now, but eventually I'm hoping to one day. If I could provide mediumship readings for people worldwide, but for free, like I would love to do free readings. That would be my dream. So ideally, if I could make an income through, I don't know, YouTube or some other way, and then I could do like that's my dream. You know what I mean? And it's like I would not be pursuing that if I was still in that relationship.
Hmm. And I love that. I feel the
Uh,
same way. I want to be able to, I think information should be free. And I'm like, I would love to be able to continue to give the information for free and have other
Mhm.
streams of revenue, you know, and be able to continue to give
Yeah.
information
Yeah.
because, you know, some
Yeah.
people paywall information or services, and I understand why, because we all have to live.
Yeah.
But the
Totally.
same,
Yeah.
I definitely, my dream is to be able to continue to do that, you know, to keep doing it
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
also about the
I'm looking at.
relationships. So
Mhm.
there's a guy, Lee Harris. He's a channeler. I really love his work. And he said on one of his channelings years ago, which was very interesting. So you know how we have spiritual contracts, soul contracts in order to have
Mhm.
relationships. There's also, this part is very interesting, a little uncomfortable sometimes for people to hear. So, of course, you have a contract with every partner that you're going to have.
Mhm.
However, your partner has a contract with your next partner, and you have a contract with their next partner for you to get out of the way. So sometimes, like, and what he said in this channeling was that, like, sometimes we finally find the courage to leave the relationship, but it's not actually just us finding the courage, it's the contract clicking in where, you know, say it's your ex-boyfriend. You have a contract with his next girlfriend, and he has a contract with your next boyfriend because they have to agree to get out of the picture in time for you to do what you need to do before you can
Ah.
meet the next person. So that's
Oh,
what's
you're
so
giving me
crazy
chills
about it.
right now. Interesting. Ooh, that gave me chills.
And what's crazy
Wow.
is a lot of
Yeah.
times, you know, maybe not at this stage in our life, but maybe when we were younger, felt like, oh, you know, that next person, you know, maybe having negative feelings towards their next partner, you know, or judging them. But actually, when you think about it from like a bigger picture, you actually had to move out of the way for that person to come into their life.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about. I believe that though. Like that makes sense to me. I've never thought of it in
I
that
just
kind of a
laughed
way though.
because Jimmy said over here, I knew I should have read the contract.
Someone's here is like we're all connected, which is very true. We all work
Mhm.
together 100%. Yeah.
And how crazy is that? You think about maybe someone who broke your heart had to do that so that the next
Yeah.
person could come in.
Well, do you know what? Like with my ex, he's the one technically that like he broke up with me, and I'm grateful for it. I'm like, thank you. Like, thank you for letting me go because it's the best thing that's happened, you know?
I so agree with that. And it's really like, you know, that's what I mean about like people, if you're kind of going through a breakup and you actually do break, just think that there is so much more for you out there. You know, I know it's so hard for people
Yeah.
to imagine what else is
Yeah.
out there for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
someone's
hard.
asking if
It's
that
hard, but you
applies to
have to
all.
like.
Sorry, I was cutting you off.
No, 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 it's okay. I'm like half reading the comments. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Someone is saying that that apply does they think that applies to all encounters and friendships and interactions? I think so. I would say that most
I
of
I
our
think
friendships.
I think most of our like important ones, because at the end of the day I also believe in like free will. So it's like with contracts it's hard because it's not like we're writing out every single thing that's happening in our lives. It's
Mhm.
not fluid in that way because free will comes into play too. So it's like I like my human brain can't fully comprehend how it works. Like I don't think we're supposed to fully comprehend it. That's why it's like I believe in free will, but I also believe in like destiny and fate. I think it's like a combination of all of it. Can I explain it? No, because I can't really comprehend it, but that's what I believe.
Same. I am a big believer of free will, but I also believe in destiny and predestiny where we determined it already.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that, you know, we have our destiny, but not everyone
Hmm.
chooses to follow it, which is sad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I believe that too. But I also believe that there's like different ways to like, accomplish certain things too. And like with even with meeting people, it's
Oh,
like,
your voice is cutting out a little.
can you hear me now?
Oops.
Is it still choppy?
Oh no, I don't hear you. Hold on.
No.
Do you hear me?
I could hear you. Yeah,
You
can you hear me?
can. Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
hear
no.
you. Do you guys
Is
hear
it,
Brittany?
can you
Oh,
guys
you
hear
guys can
me?
hear her. Okay, it's just
Oh
me.
no. They could hear us both. Oh no.
Oh,
I wonder if it's
you
on
guys can
your
hear
end
both.
or
I
my end.
can't. Oh no.
Oh no. I could hear you. I could hear you. She looks frozen. Oh, you were a little frozen. I don't know if she could hear. Oh no.
Um, let's see. Well,
Oopsies, I'm gonna move.
we're also coming up on 2 hours here. Um,
Okay.
so maybe we'll finish with this, right? Um, you guys can hear both. I can only hear myself.
Oh no.
Okay, but I can read your lips. So,
Okay.
um, okay, but this is good because we were going to do 2 hours anyway. So we're coming up on our 2 hours. Um, Brittany, thank you for doing the dowsing
Thank
rods
you.
and asking Vuvu these amazing questions. We have to do this again soon because this was so much
Yes,
fun.
anytime. We'll do it again soon. I don't know if she could
Aw.
hear me, but we'll do it. We'll do it again soon. Somebody write it in the chat for me. I don't know if I could write it in the chat. Oh, it has
Oh,
to
but
be on her
everyone
side
hears
though.
both of us.
Yeah, they could hear
She
us
said
both.
anytime. Thanks, guys. Okay, they're
Thank you.
translating.
Thank you. She said yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah, we'll do it
hilarious. We'll do
again.
it again soon.
Hmm.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone for your questions. We'll have to set up another date to do this, and I'm gonna prepare
Yes.
some like questions next time.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. I know you can't hear me, but thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
we'll
Oh,
do it
thanks,
again soon.
guys.
Bye,
And I'm gonna
guys.
post this on my YouTube. You're also gonna post this on yours, right? Perfect.
How do
Oh, thank you
I'll have to
guys.
text her.
Oh, have a good night. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, everybody. Bye.